progress. Or as we say in England, progress. Yeah, so recording in progress. So what we're looking at is actually how we, due to our habits, due to our ignorance, how we mix authentic spiritual practice with inauthentic practice, with something that is actually poisonous. You could say disturbing, poisonous, unwholesome states of mind. It's like you may have really good ingredients in your kitchen, very good food, organic ingredients, everything good, but then you have some stale or old or food in your fridge or somewhere that is going off, which has become a little bit poisonous. You have left it out too long, or it's been in the fridge for too long, and you decide you're going to mix that with the fresh food that you're making, and as a result, everything gets spoiled. Or it may taste okay, but then you get very sick because there's all these bacteria that are formed in the old food, stale food. So it's a bit like that. We are, as ordinary human beings, ordinary here does not mean that we cannot be geniuses, but ordinary here means we have not yet tamed our mind sufficiently with spiritual practice. We have not yet realized the deeper nature, essence of who we are. We haven't realized yet the very deepest truths of who we are and how things exist. So that kind of ordinary being, which is most of us, right? So we are caught up in our habit patterns, in our prejudices, in our conditioning. It's really a state of lack of freedom of mind. And we are, according to Lord Buddha, we are slaves of three main factors. One root factor, which is ignorance, which doesn't understand who we are, what we are, how we exist, and develops a false identity, you could say, which we hold on to very strongly. Out of that comes a need to protect that identity, that me, that I, that mine. And we do that through pushing away what we find threatens it, and trying to magnetize and grasp what we think will be good for us, good for me, good for mine, good for my country, good for my family, good for me, like that. So this leads to all kinds of conflicts and problems and neurotic states of mind. So this is what we are faced with. According to Lord Buddha, if we check, this is our situation. We can check, we can investigate, and we see this is what is happening. If we honestly look at our minds, they're often a big mess, like a garbage heap. And in one sense, worse than a garbage heap, because although a garbage heap may smell very bad, and although a garbage heap may be, of course, a threat to public health in a big city or wherever, but garbage heap cannot harm us beyond our death, right? When we die, then we don't have to deal with that garbage heap. Maybe future garbage heaps in future lives, but a particular garbage heap, don't have to worry. But these poisonous attitudes in our mind, anger, attachment, jealousy, pride, competitiveness, arrogance, miserliness, and this basic fundamental confusion about who we are, this ignorance, this wanting mind, the grasping mind, mind of aggression. This is going to harm us. It's harming us now, and it harms us beyond this life, because according to Lord Buddha, these things don't just go away when we die. They don't disappear into space. Just like our consciousness doesn't just disappear. Disappear meaning end in space or somewhere. Carries on. The subtle continuum carries on. Carries the seeds of who we are, how we've behaved, imprints of our behavior, mental behavior, verbal behavior, physical behavior. They leave instincts, they leave imprints on this stream of mind, stream of consciousness. And they give their effects in the future. It's like a very, very subtle, amazing kind of chip, which holds so much information, you know. Chips are also incredible things, aren't they? These microchips that run the world of technology and so forth. Incredible how much they can fit onto a tiny, tiny chip. So our mind is like some super incredible micro chip kind of thing, although mind is not a thing like a chip. But imagine it has countless imprints from the past. So we're dealing with that. Anyway, we need to have a proper motivation and sit quietly for a little while, as we do usually, before we go full scale into anything. I started talking, probably because of the influx of food into my body, and tea has made my mind overactive. Okay, so sit, if you can, in a upright posture is good. Upright is good. Energy can flow better, and it gives us a sense of confidence. Why do you need confidence? Well, it's not because we need to, not because we are wanting to compete with or bully people or be top dog or something. We need confidence because we've got to work on ourselves and we've got to help other people in this world. That needs tremendous confidence, actually. Tremendous courage, even just to look at our own minds sometimes. The reason we distract ourselves so much in our life with all sorts of entertainments and so forth is because often we don't want to face our own mind quietly. We're afraid of what we might find, and we're afraid of uncertainty, we're afraid of death. We don't want to face certain realities, so we keep busy. We keep very busy so that we don't have to slow down and actually face what we should be facing, which is ourselves, and deeper parts of ourselves, and the hidden fears and so forth. So we need confidence for that. We need bravery, not ordinary bravery, but a different kind of bravery. Yeah, we need to be able to face our fears with confidence. So we sit upright. We're not sitting like someone about to be beaten by a policeman or whatever. We sit upright and confident. And the front of our body is open because we're willing to make a relationship with the world. We're not going to run away from the world. We can't do that. How can we run away from others, from the world? Even if we're in a isolated retreat hut up in the Himalayas, we cannot escape the world. We mustn't try to escape the world and its suffering inhabitants. How can we do that? That wouldn't be very kind, would it? So there's this sense that the front symbolizes in the posture, meditation posture, the front of our body is open because we're willing to say hello and communicate with others from the heart, heartfelt, genuine, not just diplomatic or kind of deceptive way, but straightforward, willing to communicate. Very important. Even though sometimes it's a bit fearful to communicate clearly, but in the end, it's the best thing to do, often. Not to hide things, but to communicate. In any case, we need to also communicate our warmth, the good qualities we have, not to hide them, not to sort of hold on to them in a miserly way. We should share our goodness, should share our warmth, our kindness with others. Why not? That's not something we should, or we can actually, can't keep it for ourselves. So we sit like that, and we sit also with a sense of relaxation. This is not a big deal. This is not like some kind of, this is not army camp where you have to stand in a rigid way and be so whatever, macho and correct. We sit in a relaxed way, with a relaxed attitude. Because what's the point in being stressed out? Aren't we stressed out enough? Do people really feel you need more stress in your life? Come on. So we relax. But here, relaxation doesn't mean the relaxation of casual and taking it easy and sleeping or something like that. Like when we sit in a favorite armchair or chair in front of the television, not that kind of relaxed. Here, relaxation is together with being very awake and alert. So we have to combine those qualities, and it can be done. In fact, it can only be done properly when we are relaxed. We can't be very attentive properly if we are uptight, and because being uptight and stressed is very, very tiring. We can't keep that going for long. If we're kind of relaxed, at ease, with a good posture, then we can be attentive. And together with that, we also a sense of kindness, gentleness and kindness towards ourselves and towards others. And here we will be watching the breath, because breath is what we have all the time, and it's not so difficult to be with the breath. Being with the breath helps in many ways to calm and make body-mind more awake, intelligent. So be aware of the sensation of breath at the tip of the nostrils as we breathe in and out. And when thoughts come, as they will do, we notice and we let them go. We don't get caught up in them. We don't get seduced by the discursive thinking that we are so used to. We let it go. Or however difficult that is, we attempt to just let it go and come back to the breath. Again, we get distracted, no problem. Notice it, let go, back to the breath. Relax with the out breath. We don't beat ourselves up for not being perfect. It's impossible to be perfect in this, at least for now. We're not trying to be perfect. Just engage in the practice without expectation, any kind of competitiveness with oneself. Relaxing with the out breath. So let's sit like this for 7 or 8 minutes. If you need a break in the middle, as you're a beginner, then take a half-minute break and then start again. No problem. Okay. So even just sitting for 6 or 7 minutes like this can remind us, can put in perspective, I think, how much we spend of our life rushing around, being so busy, not allowing any gaps. You may notice when you go out, or when you even go through a park, maybe a beautiful park or some space where there is some greenery. I mean, how people are always doing something, right? They're exercising or walking or talking, but how many people just seem to be observing or enjoying the beauty, the scene? Everyone is doing something all the time, it seems. There might be some people sitting quietly, of course, but often they're doing some exercise, some pranayama, something in a very energetic way. Have we lost the art of slowing down and just being content in the present moment? Are we so afraid to be still and quiet and not have anything to do? Like a child who gets bored when the toys are not there in front of her. We always want something to distract ourselves with. I mean, how many people do we see around, or in the metro? If you go in the metro in Delhi, how many people do you see who are not preoccupied with their smartphones? And who are not, say, talking to somebody? Or who just seem to be sitting quietly and just very relaxed and paying attention? Yeah, you won't find many such people. Just as you won't find people reading some meaningful literature in a book. So what's happened? What's wrong with us? This kind of meditation where we just stop and observe the breath, observe it, don't try and control it, this shows us how insane we are, how restless our minds are, how unable to stay still our minds are, constantly entertaining ourselves, constantly needing to entertain ourselves with thoughts, memories, desires, plans, likes, dislikes, etc., etc. We've lost the art of just being relaxed, calm and relaxed and content in our world, without any need for stage props, without any need for anything except our own body and mind. We've lost something. So meditation practice can help us again make friends with ourselves, which is all we have to do, because all you've got is yourself. However many people you surround yourself with during the day, in the end, all you have is yourself. When you go to sleep with yourself. You dream with yourself. Although you have all these dream figures, but basically you are dreaming. You alone are dreaming. No one else is sharing your dream. And Buddhists would say no one else is really able to share the dream of your life. You yourself are dreaming your life. So we're alone, we live alone, we die alone, go through to the next life alone. Even if we're born as a twin, a few minutes from another being, we're still alone. We don't like to accept that. It seems like almost like a curse for some people. Alone? You're alone? Aren't you lonely? So because of this sense of being alone, lonely, we fill our time with all kinds of stuff. And in that space, in that prison of loneliness or whatever, we fill the gap with all sorts of desires and aversions, and just create more and more and more unwholesome karmic propensities, which come to haunt us in the future. So even this simple breath awareness practice is so wonderful. It wakes us up to what we are doing and helps us to slow down, calm down, stop acting like maniacs, like neurotic people on speed. Speed the drug, I mean, some kind of drug that keeps us speeded up. And of course, if we work, certain organizations, we expect it to be very quick, very fast, very speedy. Everything now, speed, speed, speed. I would request you to question that, question the sanity of that, what it's doing to your body and mind. In fact, people who are slower, who spend more time on their own, who don't have many wants, who are happy to not be very social, such people are regarded as very strange and maybe mentally unstable even. At least they are not respected. Many of them are not respected. Of course, we like to respect certain figures from our past, saints and so forth, but when somehow we don't appreciate what makes them saints and great figures. We don't appreciate that that involved a lot of hard work, hard inner work for those people, and learning to be alone, learning to work with loneliness and transforming that into something creative and spiritually meaningful. We forget that. We forget that all of the saints that we know and speak so highly of, at some point they all would have had to slow down, pay attention, go inside, and make friends with themselves properly. And then they radiated that outwards, didn't they? That's why we call them very saintly, because in their presence we feel relaxed and calm and maybe a bit content, briefly. And why do we feel that? Because those beings are exuding those qualities, radiating that, which they've developed. But if someone we know is slowing down and questioning the modern rat race, then it becomes a little uneasy for us. But if we're honest with ourselves, we realize we need to slow down. Because speeding up the way we are, it's making us sick, no? Making our bodies sick and our minds sick. And how can you have a good nation or country with a lot of unhappy, sick people, stressed out people? However many, weapons of war one has, it doesn't, that is not the best measure of a successful, of a good nation state or a happy country. Anyway, I'm prejudiced. I have my own prejudices and conditioning. You have to check these things out for yourself. So we should question. Okay. Are there any questions that have come up from previous classes that we've had recently? And if any of you are are new, then welcome. And yeah, some of this you might not be able to catch up immediately, but I think you'll get a more than a hint of what we're talking about. So does anyone have anything they want to comment on what we have already looked at today, or on something from previous sessions? Nitya, yeah.
So it's not something that we've spoken about, but we do this at the end of all our sessions, which is to dedicate.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering about the sort of reason and the power of dedication. Why do we dedicate a practice, and what effect does it actually have in real terms? I mean, because we're not praying to anybody, we're just offering good wishes. But again, what is the effectiveness of offering a good wish?
Thank you. Have you any idea yourself? Do you have any ideas why it might be so? Or is it a complete mystery for you?
I have some ideas, but they're more oriented towards, well, one is oriented towards God. If we pray for somebody, you're beseeching a higher power to intercede on your behalf. The other idea is just, I think it's more to do with energy vibrations and sort of on that line of thinking.
Okay, so in Buddhism, there's no question about God as such, certainly not a creator God. There are prayers to Buddhas and so forth, but dedication is not really prayer to a deity or a Buddha. Dedication is, as you know, saying, may I be beneficial for others, may the teachers live long lives, may the Dharma flourish, may those who are sick and ill be quickly recovered, and so on and so forth. Or you can read the dedication chapter of Shantideva and see many dedication verses there. So yeah, everything is energy, of course, on one level. This word, energy, mental energy, verbal energy, physical energy, it all leaves vibrations and imprints on consciousness. It's like directing the mind in a certain it's like travelers who have, after a long day, this just come off the top of my head. Travelers come to a guest house at the end of a long day's walk, let's say, and then after they've washed up and relaxed a bit, had a meal, had a chat, then they kind of dedicate before they sleep that well, tomorrow may we continue on our journey, may we arrive at the next place, may we benefit from our journey, blah blah blah, whatever. Anyone on the journey that we meet, if they need our help, may we be able to help them, so forth. So that creates an energy, doesn't it, a cause for one to actually remember that and begin to put it into effect the next day. Or one could dedicate in the morning, or motivate, dedicate, they're all connected, but it's like dedication is like, especially when you've created something positive, some positive energy through a session, through a meditation, anything that has been wholesome, you can dedicate that energy towards more wholesomeness, something future, which can be of benefit for a great number of people. The other example, of course, would be to take a physical example and see how that works. So you're a very hardworking shopkeeper, businessman. You make a lot of money during the day, and what do you do with it? You don't just leave it out in the street or in the shop where someone can easily steal it. You lock it away, or you put it in a bank, you put in a fixed deposit, you do something, you dedicate it towards some goal in the future where you can use that money beneficially. That would be a very gross physical example. So here we're talking about more mental energy of body, mind, heart and mind. Not that they're totally separate, but one is dedicating that kind of energy that one may continue to be, in this case, not in this case, beneficial for others, be able to liberate others in all sorts of ways and help others who are suffering as best we can. If we don't dedicate it, it's like suddenly, it's almost like not saying goodbye properly to somebody who's come to your house and then suddenly, okay, time to go, they go out. No, we have a kind of ritual of saying goodbye and hope to see you again. I hope your kids are all right and like that. We can't just quickly finish something that's been beneficial. We can, but it kind of seems like abrupt. So when we dedicate, it's also a way of, I think, acknowledging that something positive has been engaged in, right? We've engaged in something positive, we recognize it, and let's not waste that energy. Let's, in a collective way, if one's doing together, remind ourselves that something positive has happened, and we're going to, what's another word for dedicate, I'm wondering? We're kind of directing this energy in a very good direction. We're channeling it in a very good direction. We're not allowing it to just go waste, to dissipate in space, all this good energy. We're actually focusing it. Like one sees a whole, a beautiful lake of fresh water, clean, fresh water, and say, okay, some of this, can be dedicated towards some beneficial purpose. So, running a water mill or, whatever. So then you dedicate it for that, you use it for that. So is this making any sense? It's also based on the fact that the mind is the most powerful thing in the world, which we don't realize yet. But the mind is the most powerful. No, it's not a thing, of course. It's the most powerful process, most powerful factor in the universe. Mind creates this universe, actually. Mind and karma, which is connected with mind, create universes, whatever. Anyway, if we have positive intention, positive dedication, it has effects. We can't see it because we don't yet understand the secrets of the mind and so forth. We're not yet advanced enough. Those who do know say that, mind is unbelievable. Mind is magic in a sense. Mind can create anything. I mean, mind has created this human life for us. Our parents created our bodies, the ingredients for our bodies, but we created the cause for a human life. The mind, primarily the mind, which determined the actions we created of body, speech, and mind, which then resulted in our human rebirth. Mind is created this. Mind creates the animal realm. Mind creates hell, heaven, it's everything. So we dedicate with our mind, not with our feet or with our, like clapping or something. We dedicate with our mind. And that is so powerful. Just that intention done often enough, then it becomes like second nature. If we keep on dedicating for the Dharma to flourish and never to be separated, then it leaves a deep imprint in our mind to always want that to happen, and in our waking hours at least to ensure that it happens, isn't it? So it's like creating a positive furrow in the mind in which we can plant seeds of goodness which keep on flourishing, keep on giving their positive effect, life after life. And if things are dedicated, if positive energy is dedicated with wisdom and great compassion, then the effects are said to be unbelievable, faster than the sky. Teachers say things like, if we really understood the effects of bodhicitta and emptiness and dedicating with those, they would blow our minds, literally. We wouldn't be able to, it would terrify us almost, the amount of goodness that we can create with those mental factors. So that's what the great teachers say. Anyway, we can experiment. Engage in positive action. Whenever you engage in a positive action, see if it makes any difference when you dedicate at the end. Does it make also, does the mind feel more joyful and somehow contented and happy? And how does it feel to engage in positive things and then just kind of, forget it, allow it to leak, kind of leak out, like you got some really good, I don't know, honey or wine or something, but you put it in a bottle that's leaking. And by next day it's gone. You wonder where it is. Just a kind of a smell left, but that's it. And a stain on the floor. But your precious ingredient is gone. So when we dedicate, it's like it preserves that energy and helps it to increase. I don't know if that helps at all. We have to have some trust in the mind that you can't measure this dedication energy with your microscope, that's for sure. Although you could measure with all these scanners on the brain, you on the head, on the skull, you can measure effects that dedications are having on the brain. That, of course, which areas of the brain are lighting up when people dedicate. And if you have people who have have done a lot of meditation on compassion and emptiness, you can see where their brains are lighting up when there's dedication being done by those people. And it would be very interesting and would show that they have much stronger, kind of lighting up in certain areas than ordinary people who haven't done much meditation. Or you can have someone who tends to be a little depressed, but then if they have a good meditation and then they dedicate, what is that doing to their brain? And this is just one way of showing that it is having some effect on brain matter. And what the other non-visible effects are, that well, the Buddha says it leads to, this kind of energy leads to having more and more and more confidence and capacity to practice the spiritual path. And certain thing, and if you dedicate with an understanding of emptiness and bodhicitta, or either one, then that energy, that dedication energy is kind of helps propel you towards liberation and enlightenment. It's like that's the ultimate fixed deposit. That fixed deposit takes you, to beyond Karodapati level. That takes you beyond space. Sorry, does that help in any way?
It does help a lot. I think I can understand the effect of dedication on insofar as imprints on your own mind and creating your own reality is concerned. I'm still a little hazy about the effects of dedication for others. Like, does it actually help them? Does it actually change their realities?
Experiments will be done with prayer and so forth, and the effects it can have on a third party who is being prayed for and who get well, we don't understand yet, do we, with our ordinary mind, the connections between ourselves and other people enough. But some psychic people and others, and of course the great teachers, they know the effects of mental energy and the subtle energy streams that are said to come out of the human aura and so forth. I'm not using the right terminology here, but there are different levels to the human body, not just the physical one, obviously. There are different sheaths or levels, which are well understood in Buddhism and Hinduism, or Hindu religion, or Hindu Tantra at least, esoteric knowledge of those religions. They understand these things. And by the way, there's some classic books came out in the 70s by someone called Carlos Castaneda, who was studying with a medicine man, a kind of a shaman in the Arizona desert, someone from that Mexican Arizonan shamanistic tradition. And that wise man, Don Juan, in those teachings, it's an amazing book, especially the book for those interested. There's a book called A Separate Reality by Carlos Castaneda. And that's really extraordinary, the second or third book in that series. Then after that, he wrote a lot of books. This chap who was studying anthropology and met this holy man, studied with him, practiced with him. So he said that, and this has been corroborated by other mystics and psychics, that we have streams of energy which can be seen by psychics coming out of our body And the solar plexus is also one major area of those streams of energy coming out and reaching people, especially whom we are close to in some way. Although there would also be streams going out towards people we don't like a lot, there would be connections being made at an energetic level, which you and I cannot at present see. Okay, so whenever we dedicate forcefully with attention, and especially if it's with love and compassion and wisdom, then we can imagine streams of energy going out from us to those people and making a connection with those people and having who knows what kind of effect. It's said if we have a karmic connection with people, we can have a much stronger effect when we dedicate or pray for them. Just like the Lama say, if someone is dying, one of your relations or friends, your prayers will be very powerful. And of course, also prayers made by realized or very pure practitioners, their prayers will also will also work well, because maybe their streams of energy are cleaner and clearer and more forceful. But I think that has a lot to be said for that, the end, because everything is energy. Mantra is energy. Why is mantra so elevated in these traditions and so powerful? Because it's sacred. It's called mind protection mantra, because it protects the mind from unwholesomeness. How does it protect the mind? How can words protect the mind? It's obviously the vibration that is set up by certain sounds, in which Sanskrit is said to be a very superior language because of the kind of sounds that the kind of vibration that comes from those sounds. And you may have seen videos on YouTube of some experiments they've done where they kind of pick up cosmic sound from the universe, and it's kind of very similar to Om, the sound Om. And Om is the most important syllable in Hindu and Buddhist esoteric teachings. So things like that, words, thoughts, prayers, they have energy. They are energy, actually. So if you direct, and this is how obviously how telepathy works, one might say. There's a stream of contact between you and others, especially people you may be close to. There's an energetic stream where often you have the same kind of thoughts, or even sometimes know what another person may be thinking without being a full-scale, a psychic or someone who can read minds. But sometimes you have a very good idea of what someone else you are close to or whatever is feeling or thinking even. So that also, I think that explanation is very powerful. And also the thing Castaneda said that his guru, his shaman master had told him, is that when people die, when someone very close to you dies, it takes time for that energetic connection that you have with those people to be cut. It's like we still have an umbilical cord of connection with people that we are very close to. It takes a while for those cords of energy to just disappear. And sometimes they may never do so if we are clinging on too much. So that seemed also interesting. Sometimes you feel that gut level connection or sadness or loss, So this is to do with invisible also energetic fields. And it would make sense in terms of the deeper Buddhist teachings, that everything is interpenetrating everything else. It's just not just the gross level interdependence that is there. There's a subtle level of interdependence. Always they've said that. There's impermanence, there's subtle impermanence. There's interdependence, there's more subtle interdependence. So what is that subtle interdependence? It has to be connected with more vibratory, unseeable areas of the human reality, right? Or you could say universal reality, which are connecting us with people who are even, dead in a sense. But certainly people who are alive, we, despite thinking positive thoughts towards them, one could say there is a very subtle positive effect. And if you're a very strong meditator and with great realizations of compassion and wisdom, then your prayers and vibrations and thoughts for others will be more powerful, much more powerful. And that's why it is said certain teachers and healers can actually heal people with their prayers, their thoughts, with their dedications. They do have a strong healing effect on people who obviously have a connection with them. Yeah, that helps. And there's that famous story, which we cannot just discount, of this great teacher, Maitripa, I think. Maitripa was teaching. He was one of the gurus, apparently, of Marpa, who was in turn a great teacher of Milarepa. So Maitripa was teaching. He's an Indian guru. And some distance away, somebody threw a stone at a dog. And the dog yelped in pain. At the same moment, Maitripa also made an expression of pain, you know. And then later it's discovered that, the same area of body where the dog was hit by the stone, Maitripa had this bruise and painful area on the side of his body. So if you are that level, it's like you can even kind of take on some of the pain. So sensitive, so so in touch you are with others. Yeah. So we can't just say it's nonsense just because we don't know how to measure it with certain instruments, or because we can't see how it could happen. It's just that our knowledge is limited, isn't it? Our knowledge is limited. If I was told 20, 30 years ago there could be something like WhatsApp, I'd say, well, yeah, in science fiction books, you know. But then a scientist who knows better could say, look, this is the reason why it could actually happen. You know, these things can happen. This is how it could work. You have to say, okay. So we have to accept the limitations of our, what I could call a materialistic worldview, which doesn't mean greedy, but it means seeing everything only in terms of what we can see, hear, taste, touch, or smell. That's very limited. Even certain animals can see and hear and taste and touch and smell much better than us. Maybe they can't think as well as us, but even our thinking is a double-edged sword, right? So yeah, I think dedication, that's a very good question, because it brings into, it highlights all of these factors. And of course, certain things being said out loud are just so positive that it leaves just a good imprint on our minds to say them. And if anyone else hears it, it just feels very positive, rather than hearing just abuse or harsh words, or idle gossip. At the end of a positive session, you engage in idle gossip. That's not going to help much. But these positive words of dedication uplift one, they uplift us. And so that's very useful. Thank you.
Thanks, Kabirji.
Anybody else? Welcome. We don't have to have a stereotypical session where I give some kind of lecture. It's like sealing it, exactly. You seal something properly. When you're sending an important letter to someone, you seal it. In the old days with wax. Now we put on tape or something, staple it, dreadful habit, we staple it. And then somehow it's safer and it can get to its destination. Whereas if it wasn't sealed, the letter could be opened by some inquisitive postman and not put back in properly, or whatever, made dirty. So yeah, that's a good example, Sagar. If you somehow sealing something properly, not allowing it to be wasted. That's why Shantideva has a whole chapter, after all, of dedication. Yeah, a whole chapter with I don't know. There's quite a few verses, about 60 verses, I think, of dedication in his great work. Why spend so many words on dedication? Recognized to be very, very important, very powerful. That energy can help us propel helps propel us towards the highest goal. Not just a question of helping someone who is sick now, which it can do, but it can create the energy for us to, go far. What else, folks? Let's have more participation. It makes it more interesting. And then things you may understand not very well, or you want to share, you can do that. The beginners here may have some questions. People at Tushita. Anything there? Or for new people who I don't recognize these names, Purisa, Mint's iPhone. Yeah, welcome if you're new. Oh, that's a nice white Tara behind you, Purisaji. Very nice. Nice long life Tara. Where are you, sir?
Hi, I'm from Indonesia.
Indonesia.
Yeah, sorry, my phone is low bad. So I just hearing your teaching and your understanding. It's very good. It makes sense actually.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for joining us from a
Yeah,
country where we Mahayana people, we have great respect for Indonesia because of the great teacher who was there. Yeah.
Yeah, but actually, in my opinion, Indian people is very smart. They have a different, like in the genius on spiritual level. India is like very genius for me. Yeah, for me, Indian.
Thank you. Atisha's teacher was from Indonesia, of course, Serlingpa. He was from Indonesia, and the great Atisha, due to whose kindness we are here today, probably, he went to Tibet in the 11th century and helped rejuvenate Buddhism there, which had degenerated quite a bit. His great teacher was from Indonesia, and famous story of his journey by sea from India to Indonesia and the problems he faced on that journey. But then he reached Indonesia and met with that teacher, spent, can't remember how many years, studying especially the teachings on bodhicitta from Serlingpa in Indonesia. And it is said that whenever Atisha would hear the name of that guru, Serlingpa, he would make the prostration mudra, and tears would come to his eyes. So dedicated to that teacher who had introduced him to the great compassion mind, the bodhicitta. So moved to see by even the sound of that teacher's name. So thank you for joining us from Indonesia, reminding us of India's
Thank
debt.
you so much.
We have a debt to your country because to Serlingpa, because Atisha is very, very, very important in for Indian Buddhism, and therefore for Tibetan Buddhism, and therefore for Indian Buddhism, keeping the Nalanda tradition alive. That was due to the kindness of many, but also Lord Atisha. Shantarakshita and Padmasambhava and the Tibetan kings, they started it originally, but then in the 11th century, 3 centuries later, Atisha helped revive a lot of what had become a little bit stale and even degenerate, and the lack of understanding that was there in Tibet by then. And Atisha was known also as the refuge guru because he taught basic teaching and the refuge teachings so much. And I think that's been really helpful for Tibetans because, that's the basis, I think proper understanding of the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, proper refuge in the 3 jewels. So thank you. And what else? Bhushan Ahuja. Ahujaji, where are you from, sir? You are muted, of course. Do you know how to unmute yourself? Can you hear me, Bhushanji? Don't be shy. आप सुनाई पड़ रहा है आपको? Anyway, wherever you are from, wonderful. Thanks for joining. Anybody at Tushita Centre want to say something? All sitting very patiently there, or maybe bored. I hope you're not too bored there in the back row. There. Maybe, can you hear me there at Tushita? Yes or no? Pity if you can't hear me. Is that you, Naveen, at the back at Tushita? Can you hear? Nothing to say, you folks? Sagar.
I didn't get about the book of Carlos Castaneda and the precise point about dedication. If you can.
The vocation, did you say?
Of dedication.
Publication.
Dedication.
Oh, dedication. Oh dear, do I have to repeat all that?
Just the important point for you. Yeah. Thank you.
On dedication.
Yeah.
Or Castaneda, which one?
About Castaneda, if it was related.
Oh, Castaneda, yeah, because with Castaneda, his guru was telling him about the energy that is created, the link between people that we cannot see, but he could see it because he was a realized, sorcerer or practitioner. So he could see the connections between people, the energy lines or forces, which he could actually see, just like some people can see the aura of the human being. So he could see those. So I was arguing that dedication creates positive fields of energy, which then radiate outwards, and potentially, like a ripples, they can go a long way, because being more energetic and not like water, they could go further, much further, just like, radio waves and all these amazing things bouncing off the satellites and coming into our smartphones, So these lines of energy going out, if they are filled with a positive vibration, then they can have a very positive effect on another person who we are dedicating for or praying for. So that was the point. And that is in his book, A Separate Reality. He talks more about that, as I remember well, reading them in my teenage years. And the other thing, another fascinating experiment by a Japanese scientist using water in jars, okay? Water in a jar. So in front of the one jar of water, and in front of that, there are some people chanting prayers and making very positive thoughts and positive energy. And then he examined under a microscope, the water crystals in of the water in that jar. Very beautiful shapes, of the water molecules or whatever. Then in another experiment, he had somebody create very negative, angry thoughts with a jar of water in front of them, okay? And you just kind of have these angry thoughts directed towards that jar of water, okay? Then he examined, again, under the microscope, what it looked like at the molecular level. Very jagged, ugly, not mandala shaped, not symmetrical, very jagged, kind of not very beautiful shapes of the water crystals in that. And he did that, many times. And he said, even just putting a label on a bottle of water which has a nice thought on it, a positive thought, makes a difference. And putting a label with an angry thought or nasty thought, violent thought on it, that has a negative effect on the water crystals. So what do you say about that? Of course, you can say that guy is just making it up, wrong, one can. But from our perspective, it makes perfect sense. Things are connected. Human body is what is water. No wonder people's negative energy has an effect on us, or their positive energy has a good effect on us. It's kind of scientific, if you want to say, but truly scientific, not some kind of mumbo jumbo science. It's based on the reality of what we are. It's just that we can't see these deeper levels. And so we distrust these kind of experiments because they seem too way out. But that's only because we have been brainwashed into thinking that only what we can properly see, and we can see under the microscope, but we cannot see the power of the thoughts, what they're having on the water, right? But a psychic could see that. A psychic would be able to see the waves of positive energy going towards the water and affecting it, because water is also energy. We are energy, water is energy, sound is energy, mind is energy. Makes sense? I can't say, how can you say that's nonsense? You can't say that. It's just like me saying, oh, I can't see where all these amazing images are coming from in my smartphone. I can't see them floating through space into my smartphone. So what's going on? I can't say it's not happening, it's happening. All these amazing photographs which someone is sending me from elsewhere. I can't see how it's coming to me. And people are saying, oh, it's going up to a satellite and then coming down here. I can say, wow, come on, show me that. I can't see that. Good scientists can explain it. Again, explain it. I wouldn't be able to fully understand it still, but a scientist knows what's happening. I don't know. But just because I don't know doesn't mean it's not true. I can see the result, the photos in my smartphone. It's amazing, no? How much we don't know or cannot see, let's say. Certain birds can see much better than we can see. Eagles and other birds are said to be able to see tiny things from the height. And then they dive down to catch that little creature or whatever. They have far better eyesight than you and me. I don't have good eyesight anyway, but even if you have perfect human eyesight, it's nothing compared to some of these animals. Or the sense of smell. It said mosquitoes can sense and smell human blood many kilometers away. How about that? And we think they're dumb and stupid and we just want to kill them. Well, in some ways, they're far more perceptive than you and me. Dogs. Sense of smell, sense of sight. Dogs and many other animals can sense our emotional state, even if we don't know it. Dogs can tell when their master is coming home, even though the person is still in a car somewhere down the road. Dogs have been said many times, many reports of this, not just one or two. They know what's happening. How do they know? How do they know? They don't have smartphones. They haven't been sent a message. They know. So there's a lot more than we know through our ordinary senses. And we have to accept this. If we don't, we're just being small-minded. We're being stubborn. We should be open to what is just beyond our ordinary senses. It's said when we develop deeper powers of meditation, then our senses, the mental sense becomes so strong that it also affects the mental sense becomes very strong. Then we can see things at great distances. We can hear things that are happening at a great distance. We can know what people are thinking at a far distance, not just the people sitting next to us. Many things can happen when we develop the powers of the mind, which right now we are lying asleep. Even many brain scientists and others have said for years that we only use about 5% of the capacity of what they understand of the brain. So the mind being, according to Buddhists, far more, much vaster in its potential than a brain. Many things are possible. Many things are possible. Yeah. So, what else? But yeah, if you like a good read, then the Castaneda books are very, very entertaining as well. Journey to Ixtlang, Teachings of Don Juan, Separate Reality. These were the first 3 books that came out in the 70s. Then he wrote many other books, and then one began to question, why is he writing so many books? Is it just because he's making a lot of money or what? But the first 3 books I always feel were great classics. Some people say some of the later books are also amazing, very, very good. So you might want to check him out. Castaneda or Castaneda, I can't remember. Carlos Castaneda. Yeah, that's if you have a spare moment in your busy life. You don't have to read computer manuals or in all your spare time or something. I hope you have time for some literature and other things. Glad to see some books behind you, Apurva. They're not all computer manuals, right? Or are they? What are those yellow books? Are they yellow books behind you?
Yes, those are Nat Geo magazines, National Geographic magazine.
Oh, very good. My uncle used to
Yeah.
collect those. We have, 100 or 200 at home. Gradually trying to get them away to schools. But I don't know how much modern students are interested in National Geographic. If you hear of people,
Yes, my grandfather has been collecting them.
Right. Yeah. Uncle would collect some secondhand for 50 rupees or something. Le jate the. Some are very old. We have from 1945. Very fascinating. Yeah, good. What else, folks? Rajesh ji, kya haal hai? How are you? Rajesh bhai, kya haal hai?
ठीक है गुरुजी
क्या हो रहा है कुछ prostration किए थे आज
किया था गुरुजी
Wonderful. How would you answer Nitya's question? I mean, how does dedication help from your experience? How could it help? Rajesh ji is in Gurgaon and he has a special meditation place in his home and excellent cook. The parathas he makes are amazing. But he's also a very
Kabir ji, you are saying very beautifully. Everything was so nice you put in. Yeah, you are saying very beautifully. I don't.
आप अपनी तरफ से
Dedication is so.
But have you found dedication useful in your practice?
Like sometime like once a while when I have strong devotion or strong positive energy in my heart, or I do compassion like to do compassion prayer to help the other being, and like it's like so much like make me cry so much. Like saying just prayer makes me cry. It's like so many tears comes in the eyes. Like when we feel strong compassion in heart to someone's like who are sick, who are sick or who are dying. When we do this kind of prayer, it's like a feeling like so much strong energy in the heart.
And Rajesh bhai, do you think it helps those people also at some level? Your dedication?
Definitely. So many times I noticed like when we have strong karmic connection with somebody, especially when we have karmic connection with somebody and we pray for them, definitely I check so many times from my own experience. It's like instantly they other people feel better. Like one day my wife was so much little bit her mind was so unhappy. She was so much in deep pain. And then I was doing so many frustration after frustration, so many practice, so many mantra I did. And then after that, I dedicate for her. In half an hour, after half an hour, I heard that she is very peaceful.
Right. Right.
It's happened many times. It's happened many times when we accumulate so much good energy during prayer and doing recitation of mantra, doing prostration. Then definitely, I not one time, many experience I have this kind of strong prayer. If we do with somebody with karmic connection, strong karmic connection, then I felt immediately. But because I am very limited, that's why maybe my prayer can only strong karmic connection people can maybe little bit effect. But the great realized being I just like they are just like Lama Rinpoche, His Holiness, like so many different like holy beings. I cannot say about them. Like they are just like a shower of rain of shower, like blessing.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Rajesh.
thank you, thank you.
Inspiring to hear that. Thank you very much. Yeah, so there you go. That's the best answer for you, Nitya. Actual experience somebody has with the power of dedication when engaged in powerfully. And as he mentions, especially it can help us at least to help people we are closely connected with, karmically connected, as he put it. But for great beings, like you're saying, His Holiness Dalai Lama and Lama Zopa Rinpoche and others, of course, their prayers could affect many people, even people they are not so closely connected with, but just due to the purity and the strength of their dedications, it can benefit many people. Yeah. So maybe that's good. We can spend the last 3-4 minutes dedicating. That would be good, unless there's any urgent matter. Yeah. Okay. So think of some people you know who are in pain or suffering in some way, physically, mentally, for whatever reason. People you know, people you don't know, but you heard about them or read about them, you saw their pictures somewhere. And then feel, look, I have this amazing human opportunity. I have some understanding of the teachings. I have the wish to be of some benefit to others, for sure. I want to be, good, decent, kind human being with wisdom. May the energy we have created together today, positive energy, not be wasted. May we dedicate it towards the happiness and welfare of those beings who are suffering. May one's life become highly meaningful for others, so that, even if somebody sees our name or our face in the street or on a Zoom session, may it be beneficial for that person. We should pray in this way. It can have very powerful effect, maybe, over a period of time. So a strong dedication. So maybe even hearing my name, we should think, may it make people feel happy, free from fear, whatever problem they're going through. May even my name be beneficial for them. And if they treat me, these people, anyone treats me well, treats me badly, however, doesn't matter, may it be beneficial for that person. Even the people who want to kill me, just by thinking of me, may it be long-term, may it be beneficial for them. Then may may we never be separated from authentic teachings and authentic teachers. May we never be separated from this life to life. May all our teachers have long and healthy lives. Or may all their wishes, Dharma wishes for us, be fulfilled. May there be peace in the world. May people become wiser and less greedy and see the negative effects of how we are engaging with the world, with nature, with our energy resources. May we engage in a way that is more helpful for the planet and which can restore some balance. May we be respectful we dedicate that beings may be more respectful towards nature and towards each other. And then dedicate for specific people you know whom you want to dedicate for, please do that. They may be relieved of their pain, may they be well and happy. And may all of us be well and happy. And feel great gratitude and thanks to everybody who has taken part in the session. Due to everybody's combined effort, energy, and so forth, the session happened, and we were able to investigate, discuss together. So create that dedication, gratitude energy, dedicate that for people always to have the support when needed of a Sangha, of Kalyan Mitras who help us on the path. Dedicate for the great compassionate mind Bodhicitta to quickly arise in our hearts, where it has arisen. May it grow more and more. And for the wisdom realizing ultimate nature, emptiness, may that also arise in our minds. Thank you everyone very much indeed, and have a good evening, have a good night, sleep well, and special thanks to our guest from Indonesia. It's quite late in Indonesia maybe, so thank you for staying up with us. And all of you, thank you, and thank you to the new people who came to Tushita in Delhi. Very kind of you. Take care and be careful.
Thank you, Kabirji.
Thank you, Kabirji. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good evening.